Well, no matter where you are in the galaxy, welcome to the David Wolverton podcast. I'm David Wolverton. I'm your host. I'd like to say that the guest that we have is absolutely amazing. You're going to love her. Thanks to an extraordinary meeting, which we're not going to talk about, we're not live. We're normally from 7 o'clock until 8 o'clock, but we are coming to you live right now as a precast, I suppose, in the approximately 3-year-old, not quite brand new Salisbury Community Hub, located in the literal heart of John Street in Salisbury. For those outside the know, Salisbury is a local government area located in the northern suburbs of the capital city of Adelaide, South Australia, Australia's 5th largest capital city. Salisbury is one of the largest council areas in South Australia, with an estimated population as of 2016 of 137,979 people, and encompasses an area of 158 square kilometers, or for those who prefer the imperial system of measurement, a little over 98 square miles. This hub is the literal crown jewel of the city, an amazing 4 stories tall with 2 levels of staff and administration and 2 stories for community usage. It was completed at an estimated cost of $43.8 million. Our very special guest tonight is both the current and the longest serving mayor by 2 years, which is pretty spectacular considering Salisbury was established some 90 years ago in 1933. Our Lady Mayor joined the Salisbury Council in 1988 as the member for Para Ward, a post she served with distinction for 13 years. Her first promotion was to Deputy Mayor in 2001, when our very first podcast guest, Mr. Tony ZAPPIA, MP, won the federal electorate of Makin. She was promoted at that time to Lady Mayor in 2008, a post she has served with distinction to this very day. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the galaxy, it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to tonight's, or I should say this afternoon's, very special guest, Lady Mayor Gillian ALDRIDGE, Order of Australia Medal. Just finally, with all the abundance of information on the city and council themselves online, there's really nothing on you as an individual, or at least that I could find, which is great for me because that's the focus of the past. Welcome.
Oh, thank you very much. How wonderful to see you here, and I'm counting 150,000.
150,000?
150,000 people with 9 billion support of the state government for the state economy, goes into the state economy from the city of Salisbury. It's quite a fabulous city.
Wow. Well, I only had those out-of-date statistics. Couldn't find anything else. What we're going to be doing, with your permission, is we're going to be talking about your journey in the hopes that it will motivate people to realize that an average, ordinary, everyday person can achieve extraordinary things. So if that's all right, let's start with your childhood. Where were you born?
I was born in Woodner. It's a little place in Eyre Peninsula. My father was a bank manager for the South Australian Bank in Minnepa. So I'm a country girl.
Wow, I had no idea. All the conversations we've had the honor of having in the past, I never knew that about you. Do you have siblings?
I do. I have a wonderful sister who I love very much. She's a couple of years older than me, and a brother who unfortunately died a few years ago. He was 11 years older than me.
I'm sorry to hear that. I really am. Are you very close with your siblings?
I'm very close to my sister, yes. We never see enough of each other, but we speak quite often.
Awesome, awesome. Children, do you have children?
I have 2 children, Mark and Kerry. They're both heading towards 60. Don't like me saying that.
I beg your pardon?
They are, Mark, they're both in their 50s. So Kerry is married with a child who's now an adult too, and Mark is of course married with a child who is in his late 20s. So yes, they're all getting on.
I had no idea that Mark's son was in his 20s.
No, he certainly is.
There you go. What do they do? What do your children do?
Mark, of course, is an everything person. He does everything. He's very passionate and committed about saving and looking after animals and many other things, an advocate for all sorts of things that people need, whether it's domestic violence or whatever. So he's quite a busy person, and he runs some markets, and he also has a business of selling cars.
What about your sister? You said you were really close to
Yeah,
her
well, my
on the
sister's in
phone.
Glenelg.
She's in Glenelg?
Yeah, and she has a couple of children, 3 children. Oh my goodness, I better not miss out her children. She has 3 children and a lovely husband, and we don't see enough of them, but we are constantly in conversation. I'm very happy to be constantly in conversation with my nieces and well, not so much my nephew, but yes, we have a lovely close family.
Well, let's talk about your parents, if I may. Were you very close to them?
I was particularly close to my mother. She was divorced when we were quite young, and I had a Czechoslovakian stepfather who was a monster, so I won't go into that. My mother died when she was 58. Miss her every day still.
What was it that influenced you the most about Mum?
The feeling of warmth and love that she gave us all.
As you know, I've had the honor and the privilege of my wife and myself knowing you for a little while, and may I say that you emanate exactly the same thing. You're extremely warm, affable, easy to talk to, so I think that if you were going for emulation, you won.
Yeah. No, to be honest, I believe that to have a good quality of life, you live in love and gratitude.
Yeah, I wish that more people would have that mindset, but unfortunately, as you know, they don't.
We have to work on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, let's talk about your education. Tell me about your early days from primary school.
I didn't do very well. I was quite sick as a child, and I didn't do very well. I went to several different primary schools, but I did go back for an education when I was married, when I was an adult, and I did psychology and sociology and loved everything I learned as an adult. So it certainly gave me some ideas. I worked with a great bunch of, I went back to do women's studies, worked with a great bunch of women, and then continued on to do psychology and sociology.
Was it you that inspired my wife to do exactly the same
I'd
over
love
the
to
Elizabeth
think I'd love
TAFE?
to take credit for that, but she's an amazing woman. I'm sure she came up with that herself.
Did you also do your women's studies at the Elizabeth TAFE?
I did. I started at Salisbury and went to Elizabeth.
Awesome, awesome.
Great opportunities for women.
One of the things that she got the most out of, as you know, she went on and she studied at university. She now has her bachelor degree and mostly distinctions, high distinctions, and even honors in some cases. But she says the thing that formed her ability to succeed in academia was the women's studies.
Absolutely. It was just widen your world. I'm doing it with women. They were incredibly supportive, and I learnt so much from them. And that was certainly my first step to where I am sitting today. So I'm very grateful for my teachers back then and all those amazing women around me.
I don't know if they still offer the women's course as a free thing. That was something that Tanya advocated for and won. But as everybody who's watching the podcast would know, things change very quickly. If you're a woman and you are looking to further your education, great example, my wife and our Lady Mayor. What sort, were you, when you were in school, were you a loner? Were
Absolutely.
Oh, really? That really surprises me.
I was a loner. I was very lonely. I was a very scared little girl. I was frightened of everything. Although my sister tells a different story, because she talks about me when we were living in North Adelaide, sneaking into the front of the line when we went to the Piccadilly picture theatres and being full of life. But I remember being very scared a lot of my life.
You were young, one of those young ladies who threw Jaffas, weren't you? Do when you're young and foolish.
Absolutely young and foolish, yes.
Well, certainly in my case, at least. Okay, so the later in life studies, was that at university? Was that at TAFE? Or
The Salisbury School of Education. It was a college, a private college, well, it was a college, which is now a fabulous school just in Salisbury. So it was a college of education, and after I left, I think they did a lot of nursing and things like that. But it was an amazing experience to me, talking about all the things that we know and never talk about. So I learned so much, and I learned I had the capability of being whatever I was. And it was really amazing to get, I wasn't the brightest child. I was programmed in, and we'll talk about that later. I was programmed in because I think when you're born extraordinary, and then the people around you in society moulds you into what you become. And I was called Jill the Doll. So people out there need to know that we are often conditioned into thinking we're not so bright, or we're super bright, or we're clumsy, or the things that we're programmed into is who we become. And I think that's really sad. And it was only until my late 30s and 40s that I decided that I wanted to choose who I was, and then started to complete who I was. But until then, I don't believe I was complete. I was so busy trying to be everyone's friend and do everything for everyone. I was that little girl trying to impress, and that's pretty sad. But the harder it is to go through life, and I've had some knocks, the stronger you become. I don't regret a minute of my life.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. What changed? You were saying that you were this timid, shy young person. What changed? What happened?
Well, first of all, I married at 16 because
Wow.
my childhood wasn't that bright. And I married a person and went to live in New Zealand where my sister was, but he was violent. So I was with him for 2 years, and I got pregnant, and so I thought, I can't survive, my child won't survive. So I came back to Australia and was able to divorce him. But of course it was a little bit noisier and rumblier than that. But again, it makes you stronger to give you those experiences. And I think domestic violence is a terrible thing, but so many people go through it for so much longer than I did. And what it did, they could achieve anything by simply being kind to themselves and programming in positives, not negatives, and being grateful for being alive.
I knew this was going to be a great interview, but wow, what you just said is some of the best, the best statements I've ever heard. We know that you earned one of Australia's highest honours as an adult. Did you earn any honours later on in life when you went back to school?
I did. What I did get back from school was that the professors there told me I was fabulous. Told me I had a real brain, and I thought, they must be writing about someone else, it can't be me. So that was my beginning. But the order, I didn't achieve great things, although I did get a lot of positives from the teachers, which I thought were amazing. But when I got the Order of Australia, which was, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 years ago, I don't think I realised, to this day, I thought someone was playing a trick on me. And when Mercedes said, you've got this letter, and no, I said, that's someone playing a trick. Oh, we'll fill it in, we'll send it back. And then I got them saying that I'm being considered, and I said, it's someone playing a trick again. And it was only when I got a phone call from Peter Gers saying, you've got the gong, old girl, that I realised it. And to be honest, I think I need to sit quietly in a corner and think about this, because what an incredible, and to this day I don't know who nominated me. To this day, I think, did I really, there's so many wonderful people out there doing some things, but to get a Queen's Medal from a wonderful governor at the time was just, I'm still excited about it. I think I'm kind of acknowledging it more now by saying, oh no, I've got an Order of Australia that needs to go on. Before then I kind of shyly thought, is this really mine? Is this really true? So what an amazing thing to happen to this little girl who wasn't sure of herself, who didn't get the best education, and I've got this amazing honour. In fact, I've had a song written about me. I've been on the front page of the Advertiser many of times. I've had a book written about me. I mean, I just think I'm the luckiest person in the world. I'm so privileged, and I'm privileged to come in every day and spend time with not only the amazing staff, but the people of this city. It's just fabulous.
Well, you mentioned that you didn't know what you were nominated for. Is that unusual?
I didn't know who nominated me. They nominated me for my work in the community.
Ah, excuse me, I misunderstood.
Yeah.
Were there many? I don't know anything about the Order of Australia Medal. What does it represent? I know that there's AM, there's a whole bunch of different honours. Where does the Order of Australia Medal sit?
I think it's doing something exceptional. Doing that little bit more. So it's given to quite a few people who have done that little bit, gone that little bit extra. And as I said, I sat for ages thinking, is this real? I think still quietly, I have to sit down every now and then and think, oh my God, what an absolute honour. I can't believe things and achieve so much. And I'm still that little girl looking through 6 years' eyes and thinking, well, I just gave a great speech. My first speech when I was going back to school, I stayed away. I didn't want to go. I was too scared. I did run a company where I had to speak the first time, and I thought I was driving a little red sports car, and I think I'll crash the car because I can't go in and speak. And here I step up on stage and love it, absolutely love it.
Wow. Well, we all know what you do now. Was this what you always wanted to do?
No, I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. Well, my generation, you got married and had children. They didn't tell you what would happen when the children got older. So I didn't work when my children were young. I worked from home. I did some hairdressing and some dressmaking, but it was only when I started to go back to school I realised that I had the potential to do it. Even when I came on council, I never had the ambition to be mayor. I think I did a video years ago about TAFE and what I've achieved through that. And I remember saying, well, maybe one day I'll be mayor. And here I am, the mayor 15 years on.
That's amazing. What was your first job? You've mentioned lots of different...
I was a hairdresser.
The very first job?
Yeah, the very first job I may have worked in a deli or something like that, but I was actually a hairdresser.
I was a checkout chick.
Well, they didn't call us checkout chicks. It was a deli those days. And when I mentioned that to a friend of mine, I worked in a deli, they said, what's a deli? So many of you out there will understand what a deli is. It's a delicatessen. It's a little corner shop. I think I worked in Adelaide in that, but then I had the opportunity to go and do hairdressing.
Were you good at it?
I was really good at it. And I'm still good at it, but I don't want to do it anymore. But I still have the skills of knowing what's right. People, I just have that instinct to know that style they're wearing is wrong for them and it should be like this and should be like this. So yes, I was good at it. I went to work in New Zealand when I first got married over there, and I did very well. I won lots of prizes for fantasy and work, and I was very young. So I think I was a very good hairdresser.
I'd ask you for advice on my hair, but I think it's a little bit too late.
No, I think you're quite big comfortable with what you got.
What made you get out of hairdressing?
Well, I did a lot from home when the children were younger, of course, and I did some dressmaking. So I think I just got to that stage where I needed to be me. I needed to be complete. I never felt I was complete, which is why I took those steps to go back to TAFE and do some learning, and that gave me the ability to get into the College of Advanced Education in Salisbury to take that further and do women's studies over there. So I was very privileged to be able to do that and learn what I did. And the good thing about being mayor, the biggest privilege, other than of course the citizenships and the community, is the opportunity to grow and learn every day. And I'm in my 70s.
No.
And I'm still learning and growing every day, and that is so exciting.
I didn't know that you were in your 70s.
Well, my son's
you
nearly
hold
60.
it really well.
I do. I'm very, it's all about love and gratitude. It's all about how you feel about people and how positive you are with yourself.
Yeah.
And we have control of who we are. Whatever we believe is who we can be. So the mind controls the body, and I'm so committed to people never putting themselves down, always being kind to themselves and telling themselves that I can do it, because they can, because you can.
Yeah. I saw a plaque somewhere, and I can't remember who it was that had it on their desk, but it essentially said something very simple and similar to what you just said. Whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're right.
Yes, that's very good.
When you first became a hairdresser, what did they have you doing?
Washing people's hair and fetching umbrellas out the car. Just generally washing people's hair. I was lucky enough to work first of all in Elizabeth, and then moving to Adelaide and working in the Adelaide Arcade to a really top hairdressing salon. So, and she was a tough boss, and she wouldn't let us have a lunch hour even. We had to watch what everyone else was doing and use our fingers a lot. And I'm not sure hairdressers nowadays need or get those kind of skills.
When you were hairdressing, you were also dressmaking?
No, that was when I was doing hairdressing at home. I was dressmaking too.
Which did you prefer?
I've always been a hairdresser in my heart.
Do you still keep your hand in when it comes to dressmaking?
Not at all. I did take up a hem the other day, and that was a bit difficult. No, not at all anymore.
You just don't have the passion for it?
No, I don't have the passion, but my passion is here right now in council and doing what I do. It literally completes me. I've got a great husband who's very supportive, married to him for nearly 57 years.
Wow.
I married him when I was 18, and it's a pretty good record. And he's very supportive of what I do. And a lot of being on council is being social, and he's social. He loves the social events. So he's 81 and he's still working. So we both
wow.
we both have very good brains, very good minds, and we don't forget or lose our thoughts. And I think it's because we're both so busy.
You know what's crazy is that all the times that my wife and I bumped into you at Mark's fresh produce market and you know, at the Carisbrooke Park and other places, I don't actually think I've met your husband.
He's usually there carrying the groceries, although he's not quiet. He's definitely not quiet, but yeah, he's been by my side and supported me for 57 years in November. So
Wow.
I'm very lucky to have him. He's been a good guy.
November's your anniversary?
Yes, it is.
Well, happy anniversary if I don't
Thank
see you before then.
That's very kind of you. Thank you.
Your amazing colleague, Mr. ZAPPIA, Mr. Tony ZAPPIA, the member for Parliament over in
Because I
Makin.
was his deputy mayor for 7 years.
Yes, absolutely. Was headhunted to join Salisbury Council. Was that the case for yourself as well?
I always thought my husband would do it. You know, he was the one that built the local club and did this and did that. But no, I was approached and I came on. I remember the mayor at the time told me I had to do what she said. And I went home to my husband and said, I can't do that. I'll have to retire. I'll have to resign. But I was headhunted. And I remember it's interesting because Tony and I both went for deputy mayor. He got it, which gave him the opportunity to move forward. But I came afterward, and I was his for 7 years.
Well, you did beat him when it comes to longevity as being the mayor.
I didn't realise I did. I hadn't
You
counted
did.
it up, so there you go.
By quite a lot, actually.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk about, if I may, let's talk about you were headhunted for the council. You came on board. You were serving under the Para ward.
Which was very large at the time. It picked up Burton and it picked up St Kilda. It was a very large area, but there wasn't that many people living here then.
I imagine the difference between being a hairdresser or being a dressmaker and being a council person would be radically different. In what way did you find?
You're all serving people. You're actually looking after people and doing your best you can to make them happy and sort out their problems. So I'm not sure it's that different. I think who I am is I love to support and help people. I love to hear their stories. I love people's stories. Often I'll forget their name or their face, but I'll never forget their stories. So I love everyone's got a story. I love people's stories. I love being able to support and help them in any way and to give them the support for they want to go further or do something else.
Well, that surprises me because you never had any trouble remembering my or my wife's names or our kids' names.
I remember you running around with an Australian flag when I did your citizenship. How could I ever forget you? And your wife is delightful.
And we brought a lot of rat bags with us, so there was a lot of noise when I came up.
It was lovely, yes.
That was a whole different life ago, it seems. So now you're a councillor in one of Australia's largest cities. Was the transition hard, or from so-called civilian life, or easy? I'm not quite sure if I understood your answer.
Kind of grew into it. You know, Salisbury is one of the most spectacular cities in the state. I, of course, would say the very best. As I said, we contribute $9 billion to the state economy. We have many, many businesses. I have a planner that comes into my office and we go through hundreds of millions of development or redevelopment in our city. People invest in our city every month, every few months or so. So, you know, it's a growing city, it's a positive city. The people are just exceptional. They're kind, they're supportive. You could see that during COVID where everyone pulled together. So I've got the perfect job. You know, I'm so grateful for the life I'm living at my age. The opportunity to still make a difference is what it's all about. Because
I don't have any experience in governance, I don't really know, what does a councillor, when you were the Para ward councillor, what did that mean?
Well, being a councillor, I often think that they're underrated because they work so hard, and I often see people put on Facebook, oh, they should take their own sandwiches in, but they'll be probably here tonight. They've worked hard all day in their jobs and they'll be coming into night and perhaps working late again. They don't make big money. It means, again, taking care of your community, getting involved in policy making, being here regularly, which can be 2 or 3 nights a week. And then a weekend where we all are invited to a function and we're all there. That's helping and supporting the community. So they work incredibly hard. They don't do it for the money, but I was just talking to the new ones, and I was saying, you know, when you start off, it's a bit of a pain because you don't quite get it, and then you get it. First of all, you're thinking, oh, I'll just do one term. And then you get it, and you're addicted to it, and you love, love, love what you do. And I love it when my councillors, and we're all different, say to me, I love my community. That works for me. I might not always agree with you, but as long as you're passionate and love your community, that works for me.
Well, okay, so it's still very vague. Let's take a Monday to Friday. On a Monday to Friday, what would a councillor average doing?
Look, each councillor, you could ask me and I could tell you, but each councillor does a different amount of work, is committed, and I guess that goes on their workload too. So on Monday nights they'd be here at council after work, and so they would be taking phone calls all day from communities. They would be taking emails from communities who have problems with the road, who have problems with the lights, who are concerned about the speeding cars. They would be taking calls like that all the time. A lot of it nowadays, of course, is done on Facebook. And then at nights, probably Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they'd probably be here in council. Then there's functions going on all the time. There's citizenships, as you know. There might be, we had a street party the other day. They're expected to all be there and work in with their community. So they work really hard. I can't tell you how many hours, because some, depending on their workload, will do more than others. A retired person would do more perhaps. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say. All I can tell you is that they work exceptionally hard and they put lots of hours in it.
Mr. ZAPPIA told me that when he first started, there was no remuneration of any description whatsoever. But then as time went on, more and more things were offered, which he as an individual refused because he thought, well, I started the job doing, you know, with no remuneration. Why should I all of a sudden get it? So he allowed for his expenses to be paid for, but that was pretty much it. Is that still the case?
That's about all you got, by the way. When we first started getting money, when I came onto council 35 years ago, I think it was $3,000 a year. That did not cover your expenses, did not cover a newsletter you want to put out to your community. And I'm not sure what they get now really covers their costs, because they're expected to join and donate and so many other things.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So what do you count as your highest achievement during the 13 years that you served the people of Para Ward?
15 years.
Para Ward.
What did I achieve? Oh, I just made a big difference in them. I listened to what they did. I looked at getting some support. We built the community's sporting area, the recreation centre. We did a lot of things for bike tracks and a lot of things in St Kilda that needed doing. So we did some amazing things, which was a lot of it was building community assets.
Are you referring to the Bridgestone Reserve? That
was more, yeah, I've done that as mayor. But I mean, we've built this amazing hub, if you're talking about what we're doing now. What I did for Para Ward is support Para Ward in every way. But when you come on for council, you can't come on for a ward, you have to come on for a city. So you have to look at the whole picture and certainly support your area, but you also look at what's right for the city of Salisbury.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you were promoted to deputy mayor, this was on top of your normal duties. Mm-hmm. What kind of things did you need to add when you were granted this promotion?
Well, obviously I was there to support Tony, and often if he couldn't do things, I did them for him. We did a radio for a few years together. So often Tony was working, he got to as much as he could, but there were many things that I had to represent him at, and so I did a lot of that. I also got him lamingtons. he loved lamingtons.
I wasn't expecting you to say that.
No, he wasn't. He was very fussy with his food. He loved Vicky, his wife's food. He loved her food very much. And I used to have a little giggle every time we went there to a multicultural place, and the food was a little different. But one thing Tony did enjoy was the lamingtons. And so if I ever needed to please him, I'd always get him some lamingtons.
So now
Balfour's lamingtons.
Oh, okay, yeah. When it comes to pies, Balfour's is the only pie that I like.
I don't know whether he'd eat pies. He was very much into Vicky's cooking. But he certainly, I'm sure he's changed his attitude, because when we first started to go to multicultural things, he'd kind of been a little bit sensitive about different foods. I think that's changed now, but I used to have a little laugh.
Perhaps that was because of his powerlifting that he was doing, that he had to watch what he was eating?
I always watch what he's eating, except for Lamingtons.
So, Mr. ZAPPIA left being mayor of Salisbury.
Thank you for that, Tony.
And now you're mayor.
I am.
And which forced you to stand down from Para Ward, obviously.
No, they're all my wards.
I'm confused, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I often say that to the councillors, you know, when they talk about their wards. Well, hang on, mate, they're all my wards. So I actually inherited every ward because my position is I'm the mayor of the whole city of Salisbury. So whether it's St Kilda I'm interested in, or the other side of town, the other side of the city, they're all my wards. I never step down from they just part of what I do.
Perhaps what I should have said is that your full-time responsibility was no longer Para Ward.
No.
Somebody else was elected to that position.
Right. That's right.
What does being mayor look like?
It looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. Being mayor is the most privileged position I've held in my life. As I said to you before, I am so grateful every single day for what I do. I wake up grateful and go to bed grateful for being mayor of this amazing city. So what does mayor look like? It looks like me. It actually looks like me. Yeah. I love the fact that I know so many people. I love the fact that people are comfortable with me. They don't feel they can't approach me. And I never mind when people approach me or when they ring me. I used to have a man ring me at 6 o'clock every morning just to annoy me because the factory was starting up and he was objecting to it. And I'd say, mate, you can ring me anytime. I'm up at 6 o'clock anyhow. So, you know, I don't mind when people ring me. I guess if they started ringing me and I've never had it in the middle of the night or something, I'd probably start objecting. I've never had that. I've never had that. Very lucky.
Well, as I mentioned before, you've broken every record when it comes to being the mayor of Salisbury. 20 years you're coming up on now as mayor.
As mayor, yeah.
As mayor, sorry. I should be more specific. Yeah. So what has been the most incredible thing in that almost 20 years of being mayor that's happened while under your leadership?
You know, there's so many things. I have to say one of our greatest achievements is this hub. I mean, we spoke to the community for 12 years and asked them what they wanted. And they told us, I want a place to dance, I want a place to have coffee, I want a place to read a book, I want a place to gather. We talked to the young people, we talked to the First Nation people, we talked to the multicultural, and we built them what they wanted. And it was hard. It was hard yakka because a lot of people thought it was ridiculous. Salisbury didn't deserve this amazing building. I think Salisbury definitely deserves this amazing building. And for me to wander through now and see the kids sitting out there studying, or to just wander around and open a door and there's a multicultural dancing going on, I think this would probably be our greatest. But the greatest achievement for me is going to be lifting the whole thought of Elizabeth not being okay, Playford not being okay, the Northern not being okay. We are some of the most progressive, beautiful people of the North, Salisbury, Playford. I would like in my time to have people realise how spectacular we are, the North, in particular Salisbury.
Are you intending of pushing on and continuing to serve as mayor, or have you decided that you've set yourself a date where you pull stumps?
Well, you know what, I'm incredibly well. I can do 50 sit-ups a day. I have no intentions
I can't do 50 sit-ups a day.
I can. That's about all I do. And I'm having the best time of my life. Who knows when I don't feel this well, whether I'll look at retiring.
Yeah,
and sooner or later that day will have to come.
Unfortunately, it comes for all of us. When you presided over my becoming a citizen of Australia in 2013, believe it or not, it was Australia Day. And we were at Carisbrook Park in front of a large portion of the community, not just my friends and family, but lots of other amazing people. Did your ceremony, when you received the Order of Australia Medal, take place at some place equally as awesome?
It was at Government House, so it was pretty awesome. But because it was at Government House, you couldn't take a crowd. So I had my daughter and my granddaughter and my husband there, and that was really lovely. But it would have been lovely to take all my friends, but we would have filled Government House up, just like your family just about filled up the tent in. But how wonderful to have people that you care about right there when you're achieving something as wonderful as your citizenship or receiving an Order of Australia.
I can only imagine what that would have been. Did the governor serve lunch?
The sausage rolls in Government House are to die for. He did. And the governor's a personal friend of mine, so we talked about my puppies and we talked about my favourite singers. And the governor we have at the moment is just the sweetest, loveliest woman. But certainly so was Hugh Van Lay. So he was very personal. So it was very special for me.
You brought it up, so I have to ask you, who are your favorite singers?
Well, I love Adele.
Really?
I love Adele, and I love James Blunt.
Wow, okay.
But also I like all the old singers. I like opera. I've got something like 3,000 songs on my phone that I play as I'm driving around. So it's I love the 60s music. What about you? Do you like the 60s music?
Are you kidding? I love the 60s music. I have a Spotify account which has a 5-day long playlist. Yeah. And in that playlist, there's a little bit of everything. Jazz, blues, funk, pop, rock, disco, R&B, C&W, a little bit of absolutely everything.
I love the fact that I can ask my phone or my car to play me 50s music, 60s music, or Tina Turner at the moment I'm obviously listening to. So technology is wonderful, isn't it? We just have to learn how to use it.
Absolutely. Speaking of Tina Turner, just in case you didn't know, there is a Tina tribute which Tina Turner herself approved the singer. So she said that I endorse this singer. That's going to be over at the Regal on the other side of Adelaide.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
So if you're and your husband into cabaret, so you can have a seat right up next to the stage. It's not Tina Turner, but according to Tina, she's the best impersonator.
The music is beautiful.
It really is. Yeah. In the position I first met you at National Sorry Day event that I hosted in Salisbury East Community Centre.
I remember that well. You were a pastor.
I was, absolutely. I found that serving the community affected my family negatively. Let me explain. In that I was spending too much time with the congregation, following people up that were having hard times, mentoring, discipling, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Have you found that trap has at some point in your career in politics affected you as well?
I have to tell you, because I'm mayor, I work, in fact I'm just asking my staff, I want a couple of days off, but I'd sometimes work 6 days, 7 days and 7 nights. And I just kept going and going. My husband is amazing, he's got his mates and he also works and he doesn't ever complain, but there are times there where he must be lonely. But I've just gone on and done what I wanted with his support. So yes, I'm sure, but because I haven't got young children at home, I haven't even got young grandchildren. I think my daughter used to mention when my granddaughter was younger that I never had any time for her, but she's 19 and I've got plenty of time for her. She's beautiful. So yes, I can understand how you would be, because you don't leave it behind. If someone's got a problem, I'm on the phone to staff, or I'm on the phone to something. If I'm not happy with a speech, I'm on the phone, and I put pressure. I'm not too bad, but if I need to ring my CEO or my staff, I will ring them on the weekend if it's important enough. So yes, you have to follow through, and your job in particular would have been very sad. My job, I can kind of fix a lot of people quicker. With you, it would have been a lot harder.
Well, there was a lot of times where I'd make promises to the kids, we're going to do this, we're going to go here, we're going to whatever, and then somebody with a personal life and death problem would ring up and say, hey, this is going on, and
you can't not go.
It's kind of compulsory. So that's why I was curious to know if it had affected you as well.
It has not affected me too badly. I will take a day off and get 5 phone calls and go out and support someone, but I actually really enjoy and do that, and it's not affecting my family because my husband's busy.
Well, you keep mentioning that your husband works. May I ask, what does he do?
Well, he runs a company called Powerful Gas Services, and we do gas installations for new homes. So that's putting in gas piping, putting in hot water services. He doesn't actually get up a ladder anymore, but he runs contractors.
Fantastic.
It's his name and his business, and he's very well respected in it.
We just had gas pulled out of our property because we have solar on the roof, and we reasoned that it was going to be cheaper because you cut down on one bill. But the only reason that we did that is because we have a solar and we have a battery.
Oh, I think that's really wise, and it's certainly a thing that we're all going to have to look at. But when gas goes, hydrogen will be here, so your pipes will still be okay.
Was this what your husband always did, or did he?
He did. He started in the gas company when he was 15 years old.
Wow.
He was in bed and his mother said, "Get up, the guy across the road works in the gas company, you're going in to get a job or you're going back to school." So he started when he was very young. I think he got Apprentice of the Year at some stage there. He's very good at his job. He's very good still at telling people how to do certain things. He's very good at running a business.
You were saying to me off air before we actually started, over your time at council, is there anything that the media has messed up, that they misreported, that they misrepresented, that you'd like to make straight for the record?
Nothing seriously have they ever done. I think the saddest thing is that when you talk about something that you're passionate about and then make some other comments, that they'll give you 30 seconds and it'll be the things that don't really relate to the message you want to get across. That happens throughout radio, not television. It happens throughout. Well, I suppose, yes, I suppose they cut some of the television if they're doing an interview too. No, radio they don't cut because you're actually on radio and you actually get to say it. On television you get 30 seconds. So I was talking recently about Hollywood Plaza and the new developments they're doing down there, and then they asked me what I thought about the sign coming down, and I said, oh well, I guess we all have to move in. It was a Hollywood sign, I'm sure you remember that.
Oh yeah.
And then on television there was me saying, oh well, we have to all move on. So I thought the message of these people in this area really looking forward to the redevelopment, and we're really pleased with what they're going to do there, and talked a little about the past and what a difference it made, and because I was here when of course it was built, so and fought for it to be a district centre. But they didn't listen to any of that and how it had grown, and they just took that one little bit, and they do that because you only get 30 seconds.
So is there anything that you'd like to get straight for the record?
No, Hollywood Plaza is doing well, like all our shopping centres. I'm here to support them all, and I've been privileged to be there at the opening, or actually personally opened so many of them, and that is so rewarding. How lucky am I?
Did you have any feelings one way or the other when the sign came down? Because that was such a landmark. You could see it for such a long way away. It was, and I would have loved it to be there forever, but the fact is it wasn't safe anymore, and we had no choice, and people were really bitter about it. Yeah, because I remember when it went up, it was really exciting. Do I remember correctly that originally that was a drive-in a long,
long time ago? It was a drive-in, Holloway Drive-In, yeah. I went to that drive-in. Yeah, you just reminded me of it. And in fact, you could see the Holloways, Holloway, what was it? Hollywood. You could see the Hollywood sign everywhere in Salisbury. If you went up the Salisbury East a little bit on the hill, you could see the sign. So it was a landmark, and then it became a shopping centre, district shopping centre. So it was a bit sad when it came down, but it was unsafe. And if you're buying, I often say that if you're buying it yourself and you've got to put a lot of money in it, obviously the owners didn't choose to put a lot of money in and constantly keep it maintained and repaired. It was very old.
Could it have been repaired at a reasonable cost?
Everything can be repaired, but I'm not the person who owned it or made that decision.
Yeah. There's a perception that the mayor makes the decisions. My understanding is that that's primarily what the CEO does.
No. Actually, no.
No,
the decisions are made by the councillors.
Okay.
They make the decisions. So the mayor doesn't actually even get a vote, although I do get a vote in the discussion of all of them. So the councillors are the ones that make the decisions. So choose your right councillors, and except for a couple, they've done very well choosing the right councillors because they're all making the right decisions for their areas.
You say that you do not get a vote in council?
I do not get a vote unless it's a draw.
So you're effectively the tiebreaker?
I'm the tiebreaker.
And the chairperson?
And the chairperson.
Awesome. So what does the CEO do?
CEO runs the council staff, or controls all the staff, is the one in charge of all of that.
Okay,
But
so
I have a really fabulous relationship with my CEO, so he and I work incredibly well together. So if I say, look, that sign needs to be painted, it would be painted. But then if the councillor said, look, we feel that something needs to be done with here, they make the decisions.
and the councillors.
Yeah, it then comes to council, we'll sit for 3 nights, talk about what we think should or shouldn't be on that budget, and either take the recommendation from staff or not.
Is there something you're passionate about that you'd like to let people know about, or the position you hold that I haven't asked?
I don't think there is. I'm passionate about this city. I'm passionate about the people who live here. I want people to understand throughout the state that this is an extraordinary council and what we're achieving here.
What's on the cards in the near future? Is there something that you're talking about in council
Absolutely.
that you're allowed to, that wouldn't?
Well, we're looking at redeveloping our city, and the ideas that are coming in are just amazing. So in 5 years, it will be a completely different city. And I've been here for 57 years, so I love that old city, but I'm also progressive and realise we need to move on. And my goal and my dream is to have people actually living in the centre of Salisbury. So as we develop and it goes a little high rise, for a person who's living on a larger block and can't manage it anymore, to be able to buy a beautiful little apartment in John Street itself, where they can walk down and meet their friends at the local cafe, where they can go to their doctors or their dentist or their whatever they go to me seems the perfect solution. I want Salisbury to be alive 7 days a week, full of life. So that's my goal, bring people in and have them living here.
Comparatively speaking, the hub is state-of-the-art, whereas the majority of the CBD, for want of a better way of putting it, John Street primarily, is a little bit run down.
Have you looked recently?
Recently?
Have you walked up the last week or so?
Not the last week or so,
Well,
no.
I suggest when you leave here, you pack all your stuff and then have a little walk along. It's become the garden city. We've spent $7 million and there's lots of gardens, the laneways are looking beautiful. We're getting ready for the new development.
Okay, so when you're talking about all of that, you're talking, I know that there was some street work that was being done.
Lots of work.
Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. No, there's a whole garden. We did do a lot of street work around there. We put different lighting up. We've put beautiful gardens in our laneways are just peaceful, beautiful places, magical places. We've got some lovely statues that recognise our multiculturalism, and just a couple of Saturdays ago, we opened one that recognised our 60 years or 100 years of our bands, both Para Hills and Salisbury, and they've depicted the faces of the band leaders that are now here from Para Hills and Salisbury. Have a little look up, it's just further amongst all the garden. So Salisbury is looking amazing, and it is changing. As we our world changes, we change, but it changes with the consulting of the community. So whatever we do, we consult the community and get their input, because that's important.
I seem to recall that there was a big project that was announced that I haven't seen any work done on it, of a water park. Is that still something that's happening?
Yes, the water park, it's not the water park, it's the old swimming pool that we've all been swimming and taking our children and our grandchildren to. That we're spending a lot of money on that, and that will be like a water park. It'll have everything in it you can imagine. And we're hoping that should be open next year.
Okay, I am aware of that one. What I was referring to was...
You're talking about the tree, the climbing place.
No, ma'am.
No.
What I was talking about was that there was going to be some kind of a water park on Kings Road, I believe, or something like that, around that area. Did I misunderstand, or was that plan shelved?
I don't recall. I think years and years ago they talked about where the corner of Kings Road having all sorts of an outlet centre, which we're actually getting further down, but we're not talking about a water park there anymore.
Okay, so it was something that was discussed for whatever reason was rejected?
It wasn't a decision of council, it was a developer coming in with some ideas, which were great ideas, but unfortunately we see them come and go. We just try to keep all the really, really good ones.
Fair enough. You mentioned that there's going to be outlets in that area behind where, what's that? That's
Bunnings. Just down from Bunnings, yeah. Yeah, that's really growing. I just drove past it, and I think that will definitely be open this year. It's going to be wow. The biggest undercover, not wholesalers, it's the same as they have down in Glenelg.
Are you referring
Harbourtown.
to Harbourtown? Yeah. So it's going to be similar to Harbourtown?
Bigger and undercover. Harbourtown always makes me freeze if I go down there because there's no cover. This is completely covered with lots of shops. I think it's pretty well full, to be honest now. I don't think there's any shops left. So cafes and shops, it'll be amazing. Open this year. Plenty of parking. Wonderful.
Fantastic. Anything that you would like to talk about that you haven't had the opportunity to talk about on other interviews, podcasts, whatever?
No, it's been really lovely. You asked some really good questions. I think we've covered mostly. I'll probably walk out the door and so will you and think, oh, we should have done this. But I just want people to understand that if they live in Salisbury, they live in one of the most spectacular cities of the state with a great council who works incredibly hard to do whatever they can to give them the quality of life they deserve.
Well, I certainly can't argue with that. Do you have a busy day ahead of you?
I do have a busy day ahead of me, but I have got a couple of days off this week, and I'm now looking forward to that.
Well, if it's not too personal, are you going interstate or overseas?
Well, I'm having a week off, which I haven't had a week for well over 10 years, and I'm going to visit my husband's brothers, which I think would be lovely for him to get together, but not long, because we have two special, beautiful little puppy dogs, and at the moment we just want to travel with them.
What kind of dogs are they?
I've got two toy poodles. One's a tiny toy. She's bright red. We've only had her for a little while. I've just lost one. So they are everything to us at the moment. They just are delightful, and we just want to spend a bit of time with them.
Sounds really good. I've run out of questions. I hate saying that, especially because we haven't gone the full hour. Normally, this is where we'd invite people to come and ask questions, but because we had to move the time slot.
No, I'm so sorry about that.
No, I understand. You know, as the leader of Salisbury, I completely understand that sometimes stuff that you haven't planned comes up that you have to take care of, and it's not something that you can say, we'll deal with that tomorrow. We have to deal with that today.
Yep.
So on that note, I think basically that's about all that we have time for. Thank you so much to Lady Mayor Gillian ALDRIDGE, Order of Australia Medal. Thank you so much for your invaluable time. It's really been a pleasure, and I hope that you, as viewers, have seen that it doesn't matter pretty much where you start off. I can't add anything better than that. Thank you so much again for your time.
Done. Thanks, David. That should be good.
Well, that will be basically live as soon as it finishes.
Good evening and welcome to television.
We're happy little Vegemite, as bright can be.
Well, may we say, God save the Queen. Because nothing will save the Governor-General.
I like aeroplane jelly. Aeroplane jelly for me.
You just tell them for me, don't you? Not to worry about it.
I'm living in the 70s, eating fake food under plastic trees. You better shape up, 'cause I need a man, and my heart is set on you.
On the largest network of stations across Australia, this is Countdown.
It's going to be Australia too. They are going to win it. Stand up, Australia.
I tell you what, any boss who sacks anyone for not turning up today is a bum.
Please explain.